Today's helpful tip is on gambling. First tip, separate your leisure money from your household expenses. This way, you're able to only gamble what you determine was expendable money and not money needed for bills. Use a fixed amount of money when gambling. Predetermine that amount of money that you're going to use on sports gambling or in the casino. Gamble for a predetermined amount of time. So set your alarm clock while you're there or while you're online for that amount of time you intend to engage in the game. Never take credit cards, debit cards, or checks to a casino. Do not borrow money to gamble. Avoid markers, lines of credit when gaming at the casino. List your benefits of not gambling for that week or that month. What are they? Only you know. List any unpleasant gambling experiences that you had in the past. And what was that like for you? Record a message from a loved one or from yourself and play it while at the casino to assist with managing and keeping control. Examples, as I explained in the past, could be, Daddy, I love you. The rent is due. If I don't pay it, I'll be evicted. Restructure unhelpful thoughts about gambling, such as, I can beat the odds. This is a sure thing, or eventually I will win. So these statements may not be so helpful for you if you're struggling with managing gambling. So you may want to change those statements to more helpful statements that say, I do not always win. I may lose this time. Losing is part of gambling. Develop a more realistic understanding about gambling, which includes the ideal that you could lose. Never gamble more than you can comfortably afford to lose. Gambling for entertainment and not for the win. And if you win, that's a bonus. But remember, the casino is in business to make money. Write a letter to you about the negative consequences you are experiencing from previous gambling ventures. Write a statement about how you felt after losing lots of money. This is really helpful because you can go back and read that statement time and time again when you feel like you want to go to casino or if you're not managing that problem behavior. Reading that powerful statement that you wrote could be very instrumental in helping you gain control over that behavior. Write a list about what values are most important to you and how those values align with gambling and whether or not they don't align with gambling. And if they don't, do you want to make that change? Remind yourself how gambling has affected your family and other people you care about. And you do this by reading those impactful statements that you wrote to yourself. Now I want you to imagine your life 1 year after you stopped or reduced gambling. What would that be like for you? If after a year went by and you didn't gamble, what would that look like? Always utilizing your religious affiliations. Utilize prayer, meditation, relaxation exercises like deep breathing, muscle relaxations to distract your thinking if you're trying to stop gambling. And here's a list of activities you might like to do instead of gambling. So, going to church, nature walks, volunteering, hiking, mentoring, sports, gardening, bowling, photography, biking, skating, exercise, reading, singing, dancing, learning an instrument, knitting, sewing to make your own clothes. These are just some examples of things you could do instead of gambling. And as I said, utilize your prayer and your meditation, right? Practice doing these other activities because you want to get used to experiencing pleasure outside of that problem behavior. Because remember, when you're involved in problem behaviors, your pleasure is basically centered around doing just that one thing, and that's gambling. So you want to get used to doing other things. So you have to keep doing these things so you can start building back up those feelings of excitement and pleasure. Imagine yourself not winning from gambling. So I want you to sit back and imagine what it would be like if you went to the casino or got involved in online gambling and you didn't win for 4 months. What does that look like for you? Because remember, gambling means you can lose. Another helpful thing to do is to read about gambling addiction. It's on the internet, it's in books. I mean, you can Google it and they'll give you some of those lists that will tell you how you know you may be involved in problem gambling. And also by reading and looking at my videos outline a lot of that content itself right here. So you guys can just keep watching the videos and that gives you a specific ideal about what that looks like for you. And you have to tailor it to those specific things that you do that you know are taking you away from your family, from your other obligations, just so you can get involved in gambling. For instance, if you're at a gambling establishment and you forget about your child's recital, or you forget about going to work, or various things, what is the result of believing that you will eventually win? How does that affect you on a daily basis when you think you're going to always win? Do you always go to a casino? Do you always play the lottery? What is it that you're doing based on that assumption? What is the worst that could happen when you gamble? And how would you cope with it if it happens? So what's the worst thing that could possibly happen to you from gambling? And how would that affect your life? How would you deal with it? Think about that for a while. Are you angry or anxious while gambling? Now, if you're involved in any activity that's making you angry and anxious, that means it's causing you a problem. It might be better if we refrain from that activity and put some boundaries around what we do with that activity so that we don't get so angry or anxious while doing it. What parts of your life are badly affected by gambling? When you sit back right now and if you can see any negative side effects, then list it. And not everybody's going to have a negative side effect, because some people actually gamble and it's only for pleasure and entertainment, and it doesn't affect their lives negatively. Are you presently living the best life you can while still engaged in gambling? And if your answer to that question is yes, then you probably do not have a problem with gambling. But if your answer is no, then you have to do some some solution focusing activities to help you really start to problem solve and think about, what it is and what activities that you're engaging in and how that activity could be negatively impacting you and your family. And I recommend that you watch the movie called Going for Broke. It's free on YouTube and it stars Delta Burke. It's a 2003 movie and it's a true life story of a woman who was involved with gambling addiction. And as always, thank you for listening to and watching Blissfully Mapping You with SMS. And today, our helpful tip was tips to help with gambling. Take care. And remember, I care about you. Bye-bye.